Hi, I'm Sam here at Rick Jones Pianos with a little Yamaha console built in here in the USA. It's made in Grand Haven, Michigan in 1977 in what used to be the Everett Piano Factory. Everett themselves was originally from Boston, a manufacturer of modest but very well-made pianos for the home. They got merged into a different company called Cable Nelson from Chicago, who then opened a factory in Michigan where Everett pianos and Cable Nelsons were also made. And I mentioned that because my first piano was a Cable Nelson, and I think highly of them. They're, again, modest, small little pianos, very traditional furniture, usually. Not a company that, in my opinion, ever aspired to make a concert piano, but they really wanted to make a solid piano for someone's home. And that, I think, is why, in my opinion, why Yamaha bought them out in 1973. They wanted to operate a factory in this country making Yamaha pianos with Yamaha insides, so the way the strings are, the hammer action and all, that's all Yamaha. But they wanted American craftsmen, cabinet makers, to put together a piano for them with an American cabinet that would have been popular at the time. This is a very traditional style in the walnut finish, and that way they could sell these pianos for maybe a little bit less than some of the imported pianos having to go all the way across the Pacific at the time. And that made these pianos very attractive. They also made school pianos in that same factory. That would be the model P202 or P22. Similar finish, but a much more blocky construction style. This was meant to be more decorator, to fit in someone's home. And they were very popular, and it shows in how often we get these pianos in, oftentimes on trade. They're, in my opinion, a well-designed little piano, more capable than you'd expect for the size that it is. It's only about 42, 43 inches tall. But that is, again, in my opinion, an example of Yamaha's knowledge and wisdom, having had experience making a concert grand in Japan, a fine concert grand, and being able to use the knowledge they have from that manufacturer to make a small piano sound as good as possible. And I noticed that with manufacturers, if they make a console piano, but they also make a concert grand piano, the console piano sounds really good. And I would say that was the case for Baldwin, Kawai, and Yamaha in particular. All experienced making the fine concert grands, and all being able to make a small little piano sound as good as it possibly can, really getting a wide dynamic range in a way that other manufacturers couldn't. So that is one reason why these pianos come so frequently recommended by piano teachers, especially for young, new students who are just starting out with piano lessons. Teacher wants them to get started on the right track with a piano where all the notes not only work correctly, but really work smoothly. Oftentimes, students get discouraged if they end up with a piano the family got on Craigslist or wherever, or their neighbor's old piano that is long past time to be retired. The keys don't work, it sounds bad, and the student gets discouraged because they think oftentimes it's their fault that the piano doesn't sound good. And teachers don't want that if they want their student to continue taking piano lessons and giving them a living. So that's why teachers are so comfortable recommending these modest but well-made little pianos, such as Yamaha's. They are a good place to start for a young student, for a family that doesn't want to spend a whole lot just at first. But it also gets them started on the right track because, for one thing, they're very thoughtfully designed. Us technicians, we have a very easy time making these pianos play right, to make all the keys play as they should, and we get really good results on them. And that translates into a regulation producing a smooth, responsive touch that better prepares a student and sets them up for a success in the future. This piano is no exception. And, well, with us, we have 100% lifetime trade-up guarantee. as long as you make sure to have the piano tuned twice a year and you keep it in a moderate stable humidity situation, you can come back to us at any point you wish and trade this piano in precisely for its instrument sales price. And that's what we mean by 100% lifetime trade-up. And teachers, as I mentioned, they like to recommend students come here to select a piano like this. And they're also thinking in the back of their mind that maybe one day they'll trade up once they continue practicing and, in their opinion, have earned the opportunity to play on a nicer piano at home. You might consider a full-size upright after this, or a baby grand, just anything of a higher price. And I mentioned the humidity. Remarkably, this piano, whoever had this piano previously must have been taking very good care of it, because they actually have a climate control system installed in it. This is the Piano Lifesaver system made by Damp Chaser in North Carolina. They are the industry standard for humidity control inside pianos, for pianos in this country. And what that does, it has a humidistat that plugs into the wall, controlling either a humidifier or dehumidifier, constantly turning one on or off to really dial it in at about 45% relative humidity, which is where pianos are happiest at least in our country. And it really helps, especially to stabilize the moisture content in the wood of the piano, especially the soundboard. And when the soundboard is more stable, that means it's not expanding and contracting too much, and the piano stays better in tune. And it's just better in tune regulation overall, it just stays in better condition. And so technicians like to see that in a piano. And we don't usually see it on such a small little piano as this, but it can be installed, and obviously the previous owner decided to install it. And it's a recent system too, so we've reconditioned it. It's a $798 value. We can install on any other piano here in our inventory, but it's included in the price of this piano. So really nice to see that in a piano like this, and certainly a worthy piano. Any Yamaha, I think, deserves to have one. The tone of this piano, it has a wide dynamic range. It does, I think, tend more toward a bright sound. So I'll call it a 6 on the scale from 1 to 10, from mellow to bright. The touch is, I thought, neutral. It's not really too easy or too hard. It seems to be right in the middle, and again, very even across the keyboard. And I like to recommend a neutral touch for especially new, young students. Sometimes a hard touch might be too overwhelming. Again, ask your teacher about that. Some teachers prefer a firm touch, and this piano doesn't have that. It has a neutral touch. So, but if that's not a requirement for you, I think you'll be really set up for success playing on this piano. And one more thing, the piano does have a middle pedal practice mute, which you don't see very much in console pianos made in this country at the time this piano was made in the 70s. The other competing manufacturers didn't really have that feature. The middle pedal operated just a bass sustain, which I don't think is quite as useful. But this one operates like it does on a Japanese-made Yamaha or Kawai upright, wherein you press it, move it over to the left, and that puts a strip of felt in between the hammers and the strings. So you can, instead of the hammer striking the string directly, making the full sound, it strikes it indirectly with a much more muffled sound. Especially good for tight living spaces where you have shared walls with neighbors, such as where you might be putting a little piano like this. Again, as I said, we don't often see Yamahas from this time period with that practice mute. Maybe this was the first year they used it, I'm not sure. But I know older ones did not have that practice mute, so quite a nice additional feature to have with this piano. Well, anyway, please stop by, try it out for yourself. You can play it along with anything else in our inventory. But if you can't make it, you can always give us a phone call or send us an email if you have any questions. Thanks.